Admit it, when you first started training, one of the things on your mind was rank. How do you get it? What does it mean? What is it? And how do you get that black belt that everybody talks about? Everybody always talking about the black belt. And how long does it take? And what do I have to do to get one of those? What do I have to do to be a black belt? And if you watch this channel, you probably think that I'm about to tell you why none of that matters. You shouldn't be chasing rank. Rank is not important. You shouldn't worry about that. But not today. Today, we're talking about rank. We're talking about why it is important and why I think you should be chasing your next rank. Let's get some basic stuff out of the way first. Sometimes a school doesn't have rank, or they don't have a rank system. Sometimes, especially if you're MMA, gyms, boxing, things like that, it's more based on other things, and rank is not really a part of it. But if you do traditional martial arts, then there are things, rank and certificates and belts and sashes and all these kinds of things. So what's that all about, and why is it so important? Well, I think that you should be looking at rank hard, and you should be pushing hard for your next rank. But maybe not for the reason you think it is. I don't want you to be good. Sounds weird, right? I don't care about that. Rank does not mean how good you are. If you've been on the mat for any length of time, there are people on the mat who have a certain rank and they're able to do more than people of a higher rank. And you get people of a higher rank that can't do as much as people of a lower rank. Rank is unique in that way, especially when you see rank versus rank in other schools, other systems outside of your own organization. So let's talk about inside of your organization. What is rank really? What is it doing for you? It's identifying people who carry a certain amount of knowledge, a certain amount of representation of the school, the abilities inside the school and the way things are done. So your rank says, I am a person who you can look to for at least this much. You can expect at least this much. In a lot of cases, some of the first things that you see people look for in rank, I know it's this way in our school, is simple stuff. Etiquette. Are you showing up on time? Do you show up to class regularly? Are you putting the work in when you are in class? Are you making excuses? Are you following any other etiquette that we have in the place? Do you do the warm-up, or do you half-ass it? Do you put the work in when it's time to train and drill? Are you a good partner? Are you a valuable addition to this group? That's the first thing that I care about. It's the first thing I'm looking for, is that first rank. In a lot of ways, yeah, there are other requirements. There's curriculum, there's syllabus, there's things that you need to do. There's criteria. But for that first rank, especially, that criteria is almost secondary to how do you fit in? And are you shaping up to be someone who should be around here? Are you falling in line? Are you teachable? Those are big, important steps. After you can do that, then the knowledge can come. But first, those other things are more important. At the end of the day, what is rank? Rank is your position inside of the structure of your school, or your art, or your style. And generally, it's specific to your teacher. Sometimes when you're parts of really big organizations, they can have it really dialed in and laid out. This is what this rank is. What I find in those situations are people tend to have a stronger emphasis on exactly what you can do and what you know. And it becomes more about, can you memorize a certain set of things? Can you perform a certain set of things? Have you learned this? Have you seen it? Could you then regurgitate it? Not do you know it. That's different. And instead, what I hear these things where people are collecting the information, they're immediately spitting this information back out, checking the boxes, we move on. Because the more you have to standardize on a large scale, the more you have to generalize what that rank means. So I don't personally do it that way. I don't love it that way. I want rank to be unique to an individual. There are parts of it that should be indicative because it is representative of the school. So there are parts that at certain ranks or any rank, there should be a certain level of knowledge or understanding that is shown. But who you are and how you grow and what the challenges you're facing, that kind of stuff is unique to you, and your rank should reflect that as well. There should be a certain level of growth that's happening in your character and in your person as you move through these ranks. So besides your position in the structure of generally your instructor in your school, then what else is there? Well, then there's usually a set of criteria. There are certain things that must be met in order to achieve a certain rank. They're the same for everybody and different for everybody. There's usually a set minimum. These are the minimums that you need to have. And you may be expected to know more, or you might know more, and it took you longer and learning other things before you figured out the main criteria and really dialed that in. So you might have more than that. In fact, that tends to be what I see is by the time people hit a certain rank, they have more than what they need for that rank, but now they've achieved the rank itself. I like it that way. I think it's good that way because it's not really specific to just checking the boxes. How are you performing? You should be measured as an athlete in a way. And yeah, I know that can turn some people off being like, yeah, I'm an older athlete. I'm not here for that or whatever. No, you're an athlete. You're doing something athletic, period. End of story. That's what you're doing. So you are an athlete. We tend to take that word and put it towards the highest level of athletes. But that does not mean that it only applies to the highest level. All athletes are athletes. If you are studying an athletic endeavor, you're an athlete. And you should be putting in work to increase your performance as an athlete. That is something that should be happening as your rank increases. Your commitment to the school and to your teacher and to the knowledge that you're getting and your ability to share it and your ability to perform it and retain it and understand it are all components of what it means to gather that rank. And this gets down to why I think it's so important that you chase rank. Not because you've hit some certain level of skill or ability, but because you are representing your school. You are representing what it means. You're representing your teacher, their ideals, the things that they find important. The more you do that, the more the art itself will open itself to you. The more you understand. If you train with me, the more you put effort into understanding why we do what we do, what I care about, the things that we train and why we train them, the drills that we use and why we use them, and how they get used to make people better, the more you understand that, then the more open you are to the knowledge itself, and your skill will increase. But better than that, you're setting the example and showing the way for the people who come behind you, so that a group of you, a family of you, pardon the term, some people like that, some people don't like that, this group of you, this community of you are able to take and continue on this knowledge in this particular art, in this particular style, under this particular teacher or set of teachers, because sometimes you have that, right? And it's important to realize when you do have that, they might each have their own expectations. And what it takes to meet the criteria for multiple instructors can sometimes be more because each one is checking their own boxes and what they find is important to them. And you learn this way, and it's good to learn this way because no one person is able to hold all knowledge. It's impossible. So everyone on the mat has something to teach you, and the longer they've been training, the more rank that they have. That should be representative of their experience, how much time they've spent, how much understanding they have, and how much value they bring to the answers to the questions that you have. That value is what rank means to me and why it's so important. And the more you push for that, the more you push not to buck against the system and ask, well, what if, but the more you tend to try to understand and try to answer those what if questions yourself through the pursuit of knowledge and experience, through sparring and live training and rolling and drilling and all of the different ways, then the more you come to those answers and the more knowledge you have and you have your own personal experience. And the more you do that, the more skill you develop, the more performance you develop as an athlete, the better you become. So your abilities, your skill, in my mind, are a byproduct of chasing rank, but they shouldn't be what you're chasing. You should be chasing being able to be an example of somebody of that rank. That includes their skill, that includes their ability, that includes their character and their patience, their methodologies, their understanding, their willingness to share, all of these things, that's that. What does it mean to be that person, and how can you set a good example as that? And when you do that, that rank will be yours. It will happen. It will happen for you. Some people get on the mat and they go, rank doesn't matter, that's not why I'm here, but it doesn't mean you won't get it. Because the longer you're there, the more you're working. Everybody passes through the stages of that rank. You could choose to not take that rank. I guess there's places that do it that way. But at the end of the day, if you continue to train and you continue to grow, you will meet and satisfy that criteria. And it will happen, whether you intended it or not. So instead, look around the mat. See the good things that you see. The things about being in there, in that group of people, doing the things that you do, the things that make it good, the things that make it exciting, the things that make it a place that you want to be, the knowledge that you want to have, and pass that on. Work to put yourself in a place where you can do that. Chase that rank.